Perfect, you're good to go.
I might need to unmute myself. That might help, right? Okay. I will call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. at May 29th, 2023. I'll read the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hati-Wendarunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Are there any declarations of interest? Okay. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Any clear? And could I get a seconder, please?
I can do this. Unfortunately, I can't put my camera. I'm still driving.
That's okay. Mohammed put his hand up. Okay. Everyone agree? Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes for the last meeting, which was Wednesday, April 26, 2023. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Okay. Thanks, Mary Claire. And then can we get a seconder for that motion as well, please? Okay, I'll do it. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Okie dokie, we got through that. All right, so then we have our subcommittee business. So we need to have a vice chair on this committee. I definitely need a vice chair because I may not be able to make every single meeting, and I definitely would like to have someone to help me out with some of these issues and experiences that I'm dealing with for the first time. So I know we asked Mohammed last time. I don't know if he gave us an answer, but I do want to nominate Mary Claire because I could really use your help, experience on this.
I'd really like to decline as vice chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
So at this point, we're not going to have a vice chair because nobody else.
Well, what about Mohammed? We haven't heard from him.
Honestly speaking, I'm not always at the home and I'm kind of always on the road and I wouldn't be much prepared, though. That is the reason I kind of declined it too.
Okay. Thank you, Mohammed, for responding.
No problem.
Okay, so I guess we're not going to have a vice chair. That's fine. So Sydney, is that allowed or how does that work?
I believe it would be allowed. I will confirm with Matthew tomorrow. This would be the only committee or subcommittee without a vice chair, so I will just confirm that with him.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally understand everyone's opinion and I respect it, so that's fine. Just want to make sure we're okay. Okay, so I guess we're gonna skip over to that. Oh, the budget. Okay. So it looks like the city did approve our budget for 2000. So that's exciting news. So that's good. Mary Claire, in your experience with the budget, has it mostly been allocated toward the bike safety program? Because I'm beginning to be concerned there's going to be a deficit.
Well, you have to realize that for the 4 years that I was serving and Rhiannon was serving, we were in COVID for 3 of the 4. So we really only had the first year. And we actually were in a position that we could give part of our budget to Parks and Rec, put in some bike racks because some things were not able to be run. Yeah, the first year, yes. And then the other years we had monies left over, so therefore it wasn't necessary. The last year, that was the majority of the funds, yes. The fourth year.
Okay, because I mean, it looks like we have some really good participation. I've been following along and it's really exciting, but I think there is going to be a deficit if they do get to 250, so.
Okay. What's the charge this year? It was 10 last year.
Still 10 this year, yeah.
Still 10, okay. All right.
They estimated 250.
Between all the schools?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
can
right.
get a confirmation on the number at some point this week, but there is going to be a deficit.
Okay. It shouldn't be that significant of a deficit though, considering, because we got $2,000, correct?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we might not have that significant of a deficit, and therefore we may be able to go back to the city of Thorold and ask, due to circumstances, would they be willing to provide additional funds to ensure that every child in grade 5 has that opportunity? And I can't speak for them, but I'm sure for that amount, they would be very positive. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I know some businesses on Front Street and stuff, and I can go ask, and every dollar helps, right? So.
Right. Well, I think it would be just my personal experience. I think it would be an onus upon this committee to actually go back to the community grants and just indicate how successful this has been. I hope it is. And therefore, would City Council look at providing additional funds, which is not an enormous amount of money? Would it be $500? Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
sure that would be okay. And also, Heart Niagara came through last year, because last year, although we ran it as 6s, one of the schools did their 5s, and Heart Niagara used some of their funds in order to pay for every one of the 5s that participated in.
Okay.
So there are funds there too.
Okay, that's good. At least I have a couple options. I mean, I don't mind
Yeah.
banging on doors to help out, but
Right.
that's the more appropriate approach. Okay.
Well, I think from a public relations standpoint, we want this to be the city of Thorold, with the approval of and with community grants, is providing this opportunity to grade 5 students, right? Yeah.
Okay.
It just
If that's
optics, it
the
looks
MO.
good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's what I.
Yeah.
That's why I
the
really wanted to have
optic-
you on
yeah.
the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, we want, and because when the press release is done, you want that out there, like, we're doing this for the children of the city of Thorold. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate the input. Okay. So Sydney, I guess we can talk to see if I need to talk with council or however that process works out. Okay. All right. So the budget, we don't need to pass any motions there. Okay. So next one on the agenda is 7.3 Sullivan Avenue, parking and bike lanes. So the chair of the Tourism Advisory Committee raised a concern with Sullivan Avenue and people parking in the bike lanes. Requested the item land on the active transportation agenda because it falls within their jurisdiction. Okay, I do bike on that street and walk on that street a lot, so I definitely get it. I guess we don't have anyone from, I guess Sean's not available today to be able to answer that, so that's okay. I guess we could kind of push that to the next meeting perhaps. Otherwise, I mean, go ahead,
Or we
Micah.
could just, I did take an opportunity. I must admit, I did notice this, but it's kind of unusual. They put bike lanes on the parking side of the road. So bike lanes are on both sides of the road. Hello, Rhiannon. How are you?
I just
Nice
got in
to
the
see you.
house.
Nice to see you. So where you've got no parking between, I want to say it's West and Stewart. It's not all the way down there. You've got the indication for bike lanes, but also on the other side of the street is parking allowed, and they put in the bike lane signs there. I'm wondering whether it may be that it shouldn't be on both sides because it is parking on the other side.
Yeah, that does make sense. When I lived in Montreal, there was 2 ways they did it. They did the bike lane and people parked there and there's nothing you can do about it, or they did parking and then a separate bike lane so that people could travel.
Right, exactly. Or sometimes in other cities, they've got the bike lane close to the curb, and then they have some sort of a, barrier of some kind.
Bollard or
And then the
something,
cars
yeah.
park beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Sullivan which is probably wide enough to accommodate that. But yeah, it just seemed, when I looked at it, and thank you for bringing it to the attention, I thought, well, that's kind of strange because people are supposed to be able to park on that side of the street. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rhiannon, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just asking Michael, who brought it to our attention? I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, the chair of the Tourism Advisory Committee. So I'm not sure who that
Right.
is.
So do they have any recommendations or suggestions? Like, it's great to purview something to somebody else, but if they have the concern, they might have a valid suggestion or a recommendation that we can follow up on, rather than just, because we're not exactly sure, other than bike lanes, what they're looking for. Like, they might just say bike lanes all down Sullivan, or Mary Claire's saying there are bike lanes on part of it. Like, are they looking at a specific area, or is there something? So, not to, I know it sounds like we're politicizing it, throwing it back and forth, but maybe just reach out informally to, in an email, say, you know, we brought it to the table. We're gonna, unfortunately, we didn't have staff that were able to give us any present, but are you looking for something specific that we're looking, that you would like us to suggest or recommend? And at least we have something to look at more specifically.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am on the tourism committee. So if
there
they
you go.
do speak to it, I could at least comment as to what was said, but I think that's a great idea. Some clarification as to what it was that was being asked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Sydney, if you want to send me the gentleman's email, and then I can reach out and clarify and get some more specifics so that we can be better, more prepared, and be able to give this the topic of this, what it needs here. Any other comments on that item?
Like I'm thinking other areas in Thorold, do we have bike lanes on both sides when they're supposed to be parking on one of the two sides? Yeah, we do.
You just slap them down.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Look at all the bike lanes we have. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it's very common. I'm not sure why they do it. I think maybe like the more logical approach would be, you know, like parking on one side, bike lane on the other, and then, you know, it's safer. And then you just kind of split the bike lane in half.
Right.
But yeah, I can totally understand, because, you know, when you're there and you got cars coming from both sides, cars parked on both sides,
right,
either stop and wait, or
yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand from the safety perspective. Absolutely. I get it. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to the agenda item 7.4, the bike rodeo. So as I mentioned, it seems like it's going to be very successful. There's a lot of participation from all the schools, I believe. They're already setting dates and everything for their sessions. So it is grade 4s and grade 5s this year.
Fours and fives. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I did talk to Aliwith from Heart and Agri. I kind of gave her like my experience back when I was a youngin', and I think we had it around grade 4. And I think that age group is good because they're starting to get out, you know, kind of be more independent. Sorry. So they want to do 4 and 5. I said, great. That's a fantastic idea.
Yes.
So when we did this last year, I know Megan wants to be involved. Like, or do we actually participate, like show up for one of the two events, and how does that work?
I personally did. Okay, so I just want to go back. So we're looking at all the 4s and all the 5s at the schools within Thorold. And the total number of those children, you think, is about 250?
That's the last estimate. Yeah, I can find out more.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why it's so high. Okay. Yeah. So we might want to, just before we continue, and through Sydney and through yourself, Michael, maybe speak to the powers that be, whether it's in community grants or whether it's back to council, with regard to the fact that it's been opened up to another year, and therefore giving them a heads up that we may need more funds. Yeah. Yes, Sydney?
So through you, Mr. Chair, how we do that is there'd be a motion by this committee asking for an additional amount of budget. However, we do have city council tomorrow, so we won't be able to land on this agenda. And so the next time we would go to council would be 3 weeks from tomorrow, which I believe is around June 11th. And then council would either pass or deny the motion then.
Okay, so we have to make a motion. We can't talk to somebody before we make a motion?
If you're requesting money from council, there would need to be a formal motion from the committee.
Okay.
If you are wanting to talk to community services separately about something, that might be different. But if you're requesting an actual council budget increase, there should be a motion.
Because really the money does go back, Michael. If we don't spend it, it does go back to the city
Understood.
of Thorold. Yeah, any unspent funds. So if they were kind enough to increase the budget to ensure we cover this, then ultimately, if there is some money left over, it will go back to them in any case. So yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
so-
idea.
Yeah, I was hoping to use some for like bike racks or something, but this is obviously a lot better. So I'm okay with that. Okay. I did want to have a conversation, but it looks like we're going to have to go down this road anyway. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I'd like to adopt a motion to go to council to ask to increase the budget to make sure that all the kids in grade 4 and grade 5 are able to get the bike safety training that they require. Oh.
I just want to interject there, Michael.
Yep,
I
go for
think
it.
as the chair, you either have to pass the gavel and you don't have a vice chair. I'm not sure of this, but if it's Robert's rules. So if it's okay with you, I would like I'll put the motion on and then somebody else. So not as the chair that you have to do that. I will
Okay.
put, so the motion will read in some form, Sydney. I mean, you can probably wordsmith this a little bit better, but we're putting a active transportation, like to put a motion on that we have included with the help of Heart Niagara, grade 4s and grade 5s for our bike rodeo, which will increase our students to possibly 250 for additional funds. Once we have the exact amount, we will let City of Thorold know that the additional funds could be a cost of up to $100 more for our budget, knowing that any funds not spent on this project will go back to the City of Thorold. And then we'll need a seconder.
Okay.
Sydney, you got a question?
Sorry, just to clarify, at the end of your motion, you said it would be up to $100 more.
Could we do that to 500?
So you
Yes,
will let
500,
council
yeah.
know, and then it'll be up to 500. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, could we get a seconder for the motion? Mary Claire, right in there.
There we
Okay.
go.
Looks like we got a cat for the third motion as well. Okay, awesome. And then everybody in agreement?
Yep. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mohammed.
Oh,
Okay,
Mohammed,
cool.
yep. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, with the bike rodeo, I mean, this we did, as Mary Claire, you mentioned, you did attend last year and were you able to?
Yes. Yeah. I went to Prince Philip. I went to now Our Lady of the Holy Rosary and Richmond. So I went to all three, and I'd be glad to go to them also if I know the dates. It's if everyone else is due to work schedule is not able to go, I'd be glad to go. It's nice if we show up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can probably fit in one or two depending on my schedule, but if you're able to go, that's great.
Sure.
I know Megan wants to, from City of Thorold, to probably go as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah,
get an
you
email
just
chain
let
going
me
for you.
know, and as long
Okay.
as I'm able to, I will. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Rhiannon, so you were involved somewhat last year as well. I mean, anything we should be looking into or be aware of?
No, I think that's great. If you want to send out what the actual dates are of those rodeo, and if anybody from the committee, I mean, we don't participate or anything. It's just to be, show your presence, and that's all it is. And it's kind of nice if any one of us can make it. Like Mary Claire said, it is nice to support whatever they're doing.
Yes. Yeah. And to thank the principals for their participation, because there is scheduling on their part in order to make this happen, and they have to get the letters out and get the permissions back, and the teachers also, adjusting their schedules. So it's, a good thank you for everybody for their participation.
Okay, I'll confirm with Heart Niagara the dates and I'll send it out to everybody. I'll make sure I'll confirm what the numbers are, because I'm pretty sure they'll know by now.
Okay.
And we'll get that distributed to everybody as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Any other comments on the bike rodeo? Okay. All right, so that is it for our agenda items. We have a roundtable discussion. So if anybody has anything that they'd like to discuss, feel free, floor is yours.
Well, actually, I want to follow on. Rhiannon last time began before our meeting was just wondering about the parameters of this subcommittee. And so it made me think too, maybe Sydney, you could tell us exactly what our parameters are within Parks and Rec and Trails, sort of where we sit.
Sorry, so are you asking about like the format of subcommittees this year?
Right, yes, yeah, the format, yes.
Sure. So it is set up this year as a subcommittee. So basically all that has been meaning so far is that if like a motion were to come out of this one, it should land on the Parks, Trails and Recreation agenda before it goes to council, just so they're kept in the loop. Things have been changing around a little bit since this is a new format for us. So we're still trying to figure everything out. But basically that's what it means as of now.
Okay, so our motion today will go to Parks and Rec first for their approval or their knowledge.
I will confirm that with the city clerk first, just since this is just in asking council to increase the budget.
Right.
It doesn't have much to do with the Parks, Trails and Recreation Committee.
Right, yes.
Usually it would be given to the Parks Committee for their knowledge, since technically this committee should be reporting into the Parks, Trails and Recreation Committee. So they
Yes.
should be aware of what's going on in this committee is how it's set up.
Perfect, yeah. Is there any thought of somebody from that committee sitting on this committee?
I don't believe anyone applied. If this committee was interested in that, you could always try amend your terms of reference to have a representative from that committee sit on this one. And then if anyone on that committee is interested, they would be able to, but that would be up to you.
Okay, just a thought. That concludes my questioning.
Well, you opened up a can of worms there, because I got a couple questions.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
do I.
Rhiannon, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So our motion that we just put forward today, Sydney, does it go to Parks and Rec? And do they have to wait as the motion goes on their agenda for a discussion the following month as Robert rules, and then it doesn't get to city council till, because usually a motion falls on an agenda and then it's not discussed. So it gives everybody a chance to look at it, research it, and then it is actually voted on the next following agenda. Is that the case here? Or I'm just looking at, some Robert rules and how this falls as we're a subcommittee of a committee that is to the city of Thorold.
I believe from my understanding, this is the first motion coming out of a subcommittee like this, but I believe it would just be put on under the correspondence item, just as like a for information piece, and then it would just move on. The next Parks, Trails and Recreation Committee meeting is next Monday. So I believe if it does go through that committee, it would be on Monday and then it would go to council on Tuesdays from then. I believe it's January or June 10th or 11th.
So there's no red tape, is what you're saying?
No, it would move through in time for the next council meeting. But I will confirm with the city clerk if this motion specifically will do that, since it's a budgetary one, or how he would like to proceed with that. But that is my understanding as of now.
Okay,
Thank
makes
you.
sense, because I don't think we have to wait a month and then like another, especially
Yes.
for some items like this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Sydney. Any other roundtable topics that guys like to discuss?
Excuse me. Nope.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Mohammed, what about you? Anything interesting? Anything you want to talk about?
Nothing really.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
Okay. All right.
If you guys see stuff or during your day-to-day activities, feel free to email and we'll get it on the agenda and we can talk about it, right? So,
Okay. All right.
okay, so I think that just about does it. Short and sweet today. That's good. Again, I will make sure you guys are involved with the dates and times for the Heart Niagara Bike Rodeo. We'll
Appreciate that.
We'll get that going. I'll let Megan know from the city of Thorold in case she wants to interested to go as well, because I think she is. And yeah, we'll keep you posted.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so
Thank
the
you,
next
Michael.
meeting is scheduled for June 28th, 2023. So let's see, I'll be on vacation, but I'll make myself available. And there being no further business, this meeting.
We got a hand.
Yeah, I'm just saying June 28th. I'm also on vacation. I'm sorry. It is the long weekend coming up. It's June 28th. Right. What is that on a Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Or a Monday? It's a Wednesday. Okay, so, well,
Should we move it?
I can try to make myself available. I'm just wondering how many people are going to be available. Should we ask Mary Claire and Mohammed if they're going to be around as well? Because I'll step away and make myself available. I can do something like I just did now by phone, but I just want to make sure if
I'll
if we
be
know-
around. Yeah,
Okay. That's
I'll be
good.
gone for a period in July, but I will be around then. Yeah.
Okay, I can make myself available. It's no problem. Mohammed, you okay?
Most probably I'll be around too.
Okay, that's good. I just
Alright.
thought we might want to do a little round table while we could. Okay.
Oh, it's always a good idea. Okay, so with that being said, that being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 6:27. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.